Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
We got you, Chris.
Why?
Can you hear us?
We can hear him.
I don't think he can hear us.
Oh, boy. Anyway, everybody, welcome to Race Chat Live. Unfortunately, last week we had a couple issues out of our hand. Chris was going through some severe storm warnings and such. Mr. CJ was getting caught up on his lawnmower business, so we kind of took the grounds of postponing last week, and now we're here this week. Chris, do you have us now? I can hear all the sound effects he's making, so let's hope he can hear us. But anyway, we had a nice little go around of lefts and rights at Watkins Glen, and boy, SVG class of the field. I guess you could kind of say class of the weekend, but I feel like there's somebody else that kind of could argue that statement. But we are ready to roll with Watkins Glen. Ooh, I hear myself in the background.
I hear an echo.
Oh, no. That means I can't. Oh, my gosh. All right. Give me a second.
And we got Mama Bear, Miss Lee in the studio. Or not in studio, in the comment section.
In the house.
Chris, you gotta mute, or I think you got the background muted now. Yeah, I don't hear myself now. Anyway, we are ready to get things going again. SVG, the class of the field. I think it was practice where he said something along the lines of he was missing a few things in terms of adjustments, because I think he was like 13th, 14th in practice, somewhere around there. And when we see that, we go, for SVG, that is panic mode. And boy, whatever he did from practice to go being the dominant car of the class of the field, after that, it worked, obviously. There was something in a interview where, and his teammates Zilisch and Ross Chastain have been trying to follow SVG's footsteps in the sense of Chastain was trying to learn the foot movement from SVG in terms of where his feet should be in terms of brake, clutch, gas, certain moments. But Chastain said he struggled with that and was kind of kept falling back to what was comfortable for Chastain. And then Zilisch, on the other hand, he was trying to keep pace with SVG, at least for the stage one portion of the race. He was trying to keep pace, but not try to push it too much. But Zilisch kind of said SVG just knows when to go, when to save, what to even save, whether it's tires or gas, or both, when it comes to road course racing. And, well, I mean, it took them, 15 laps and 24 seconds to go from, 24th to 1st? Man, I really believe that he is the king of road courses, but there is one road course that is just his kryptonite and has not gotten the job done, and that's COTA. So if he can figure out something with COTA that he's figured out everywhere else road course racing wise, he's gonna be a dangerous weapon. Everyone's chasing him. I know there are some contenders, AJ Allmendinger, Michael McDowell, for instance, Zilisch up until the tire blew on him. Now it's just a matter of, can SVG stay above the top 16 in points? I know the first 3 or 4 races he was top 16, and then he kind of fell out of that bubble. And Watkins Glen, he made up that bubble and a little bit more. So we got our hands full with SVG, or should we call him Shane Hamburger, or the Kiwi, as I like to call him. We'll kick things off. We got my co-host, Chris Creighton, the Yellow Caution Flag Race Radio, and we have Miss Sharon joining us today as Mr. CJ is taking care of some things on the personal side. And we thank Miss Sharon for filling in for Mr. CJ tonight.
Yeah, last minute deal. We do appreciate you, Miss Sharon.
And
That's quite all right.
let's get thoughts of the race weekend, more so Sunday. Is it big disaster? Any disappointment? Or did this turn out to be better than maybe what we thought?
I'll start this. I believe we were heading into the weekend with a big disaster, right? And I think that there was no reservation on putting it out there that people were very unhappy about this selected date for Watkins Glen. I mean, it's Captain Obvious, right? Y'all are just now getting out of your snow season. It's typically spring, which is rainy. And I'm sure that you've seen your share of gully washers in the August race throughout the years. But this was a little bit different. That this one just felt like I'm not sure why we didn't go to Sonoma. Like I'm still trying to figure out, how we switched Sonoma and Watkins Glen on the calendar date because I could tell you that in my lifetime, Watkins Glen has never come before Sonoma. I think that we diverted from disaster. We actually wound up with a pretty decent weekend. Of course, as a fan who's attended the race, I've said many times before, you'll have a different observation than what the fan at home thinks is a good race. And if firmly believe that if you're used to warm weather, you're used to camping and all that, then the fans who were there at the race, God be with you, because I know that you were majorly disappointed. It's your warm weather event. It's something that y'all look forward to, unfortunately, when you move a date like that and it's extremely cold or it's just not the right weather that you're used to. As somebody who's gone to Talladega as many times as I've gone, there are memories of years where it was just bitterly cold, and it really it made an influence of whether or not we had a good time. Of course, I found out later in life it's those times that you remember the most, right? Those times where you had to bundle up a little bit more, or you slept in the truck because it was raining all weekend, or got into a fight at the Mexican restaurant. I need to regress. So those actually all did happen. But all in all, I think that the racing overcame that. I was not aware that we were racing 4 series for the weekend. So kudos to NASCAR for keeping everybody busy. You had the ARCA race, you had the truck race, and then you had the Xfinity, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and then you had the Cup Series as well. I think that Shane Van Gisbergen kind of made us a little bit more. The battle that he had to do to come from the late pit stop and through the field really, I think, garnered a lot more attention than had everybody been on the same sequence, because obviously SVG stands out by far. He did it the way I like to see it at the dirt track. He had to pass some cars to make it happen. And that's, kudos to him for proving that he is the baddest man on road courses right now. I know that people have been swallowing the whistle when it comes to the GOAT theory, but give the man his freaking due. This guy's won more than half of his races at road courses. I don't care what name you pull out of your hat. You're not going to have anybody that compares to him. Jeff Gordon won 9 events. over how many year career, right? Even though his last win was at, I believe, Sonoma in 2006,
Are you saying
that
his
was
last road
still,
course win or last
yeah, I
like?
believe it was
Okay.
'06 was his last road course win. And it was at Sonoma. So that was 13 years into his career when he got the ninth win. The SVG could possibly tie Jeff Gordon by the end of the season, and he's only in his third full time season. So, rest assured, he is the GOAT at road courses. He took a good bite out of the points. But I think that, all in all, he set himself up for a late run into the chase. But I'm just not sure it's enough, Taz. And I'll pass the baton over to Miss Sharon before we get started on the next subject.
Yeah, I thought the racing was pretty good, to say the least. I enjoyed it. And I do think that the drivers and everybody had a lot to contend with going into this race. They had the new horsepower package on the road course. They had cooler weather than they're accustomed to racing on in Watkins Glen. They had the track limits that were put out there that they had to make adjustments for. And I think everybody did a fairly good job of dealing with all of those things that they had to deal with. I know NASCAR is talking about maybe making some changes to the spoiler and stuff, but we'll see what happens. All things, you're right. The weather was a little bit of an issue this weekend. They made the best of it, and everybody did come through all right, I think, especially for the Cup race. I know there was some rain that did delay some of the activities for the weekend, but the Cup race, overall, I thought everything went off pretty smoothly. The thing about SVG, I mean, that guy is just incredible. Coming from behind, he was like, what, 28th or something? He made up 29 spots in 29 laps, or maybe less laps, 25 laps. I don't know. But he made up a lot of spots.
I think he pitted with like 30 some laps to go, and he took the lead over with like 8 to go.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. My brother and I were watching it, and we were kind of like, do you believe what we just saw? That was unbelievable. And then had an over 7-second lead to finish. So he is the king of road courses as far as I'm concerned. I've never seen any other driver do what SVG does. He's so smooth on the pedal. He gets through the corners like butter on toast. I mean, he just goes so smooth.
I like that.
He's really, really good. And it's just amazing what we saw this weekend with SVG. And he had to come from behind a couple of times. So give him the kudos for the talent that he has. So I don't have a whole lot more to say. I just thought everybody did a pretty good job. I've got some call outs for later, but I'll save those.
Yeah, I honestly think I don't know if this was a NASCAR thing or if it was a Watkins Glen thing or just mutual agreement, but whoever really scheduled this Watkins Glen in May, nonetheless. At first, I was kind of like, I'll give it a chance, but not thinking weather-wise of how it is up here in New York. Poor scheduling for the fan standpoint. I mean, there were times where campers, RVs, and such were sinking into the ground enough that bucket loaders were coming in to get them out. It's just, I mean, there were times where fans were putting mulch down to try to recover some of their campgrounds to the best of their ability to get something out of it. It was not, for a fan experience, at least on that side, just not a great experience at all. Yeah, I did know, or the one thing that did click in my head was I heard Friday racing for Watkins Glen, and I automatically assumed ARCA, which I was right for. But I did not think trucks for some reason. And but yeah, I'm glad the trucks actually did get to race at Watkins Glen. Something a little different. Um, but I will say this: Watkins Glen has announced that the the race for NASCAR to come in next year will be happening at the Chase in September. They did not say in an exact date, but they did say September of 2027, and they'll be part of the Chase. So at least they'll have some time to harden up those grounds, because when you go from snowy winter weather to our spring here is mostly rain and cold, so our grounds don't really have real good time to dry up, especially those campgrounds up there. uh, you're asking for a muddy mess, and I'm putting it lightly, to say the least. So yeah, kudos to that part, but again, just poor scheduling uh, for this part, and I hope NASCAR learned their lesson. I'm sure Watkins
Yeah,
Glen,
they did.
I'm sure Watkins Glen kind of, was kind of at NASCAR like, hey, we can't do this, but NASCAR's kind of like, well, if you want to be on the schedule, this is like our only time to do it, or that sort of thing. But I'm glad that this is a one-time thing. I hope NASCAR learned to never do this part again, and get we'll get it back to where it's supposed to be in September.
Yeah, you never know what logistical things were in place that caused them to schedule the race in the spring. I mean, there could be any number of reasons why they did that that were kind of out of their control, possibly.
Well, Mother's
So,
Day at that as well, right? I mean,
yeah,
there's several
yeah,
factors in there that you're just like scratching your head, like, what were they thinking, you know? And obviously they fixed it. I mean, they knew immediately. They knew, all right, this is how NASCAR works. I don't know when the last time y'all went and bought a ticket, but as soon as you buy that ticket and as soon as you go to the race, sometimes even the week before, they are asking you to go ahead and lock in for next year. They are asking you now to re up for next year. When they seen how many tickets they sold, they must have panicked, because I believe that that was already in place to say, wait a minute, we know the sales are down. We know that this is not good, but we're going to fix it. And we're going to let you know right now before you even get that call Monday saying that you want to asking if you want to re up on your tickets or not, whether or not, we're going to go ahead and put it out there that we're putting this at a later date. And kudos to NASCAR for seeing the problem. They took a chance. It didn't really work. You're talking about a racetrack that is sold out for how many years in a row, Taz? I mean, Watkins Glen is like one of the few tracks that we always sell out at. Real quick, there was a question up of whether or not SVG was Hall of Fame worthy in the NASCAR Cup Series. Well, I don't know if you just take the NASCAR Cup Series, but you're going to have to look at the career that SVG had and road courses. And look, if you look at things the way that I do, and there's some highly suspicious characters in the Hall of Fame that wouldn't necessarily maybe make some other Hall of Fames, but for racing, I guess we found a way to. Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., all of these guys should have been put in later on. But look, NASCAR's a little bit different. They opened that door up, and we're talking about one of the greatest, if not the greatest, road course racer of all time. So
yeah.
shout
Welcome
out
to
to
the show. Yeah.
the Ace Steeler for that question. And I think most of the people here agree. There's definitely a place for him in that hall, because look, we're already at win 7. If he races 3 or 4 more years, we could possibly see somebody in the 20s that just has road course wins. It just depends on how dominant he is over the next half decade. I do have something I want to read real quick that I found, and I did send a bunch of uh, screenshots over to the 110 Nation private page there, Taz. Some of those should probably have not been in there, but I was trying to get there quickly using a double phone. Unfortunately, I made my notes, but I didn't have them on the right phone here. So that was just me transferring. Shane Van Gisbergen, this is something to reiterate back what we were talking about a few minutes ago. Shane Van Gisbergen won his 7th NASCAR Cup Series race. He came from 30 seconds back in the final 18 laps to win the race. finishing 7.5 seconds ahead. He made it happen
Unbelievable.
by pitting one more time than everyone else, then unleashing a late race pace advantage that no one could match. Over the final run, he outpaced then leader Ty Gibbs by a staggering 45.737 seconds, an average of 1.98 seconds per lap. I mean, the guy's 2 seconds quicker
On
than the
a
field.
road course.
2 seconds quicker than the field. I mean, he would have literally had everybody a lap down had he not had an extra pit stop involved in that. So, yeah, the guy is the greatest of all time in road course racing. And I don't care, Kyle Petty. You can argue it, you can deny it, whatever. The stats are there in front of us. There's nobody that can match that right now. And kudos to Connor Zilisch. He was making pace with SVG, but obviously SVG's smooth, and uh, Connor Zilisch wasn't, and he tore up the right front because of that. And we've seen the tire smoke several times.
Well, the
Yeah,
one
and
thing that you
go
have to
ahead.
remember with Zilisch is that the next gen car is a different car than what Zilisch is accustomed to running. He's been so used to the ARCA and O'Reilly car that he has to adjust from those style of cars to the next gen, which is a completely different ball field. So I mean, like you said, he kept pace and he wanted to learn from SVG by just sitting behind him, at least from the stage one side of things, which is why he didn't really try to push the envelope. And then when he wanted to push the envelope, he ended up blowing his tire out and costing his day instead of trying to make a points day. I understand he wanted to go for a win and compete, but at the same time, uh, it was one of those things that you just gotta keep on your mind when you are points racing. You gotta take what you can get, and that's it.
And Zilisch had his own thing in the O'Reilly series. He hit the ground, got some dirt or clogs up in under his fender, and I thought he was done for the day. He still raced to win that race as well, even after doing all of that. So I was impressed with what he did in the O'Reilly series too. But Zilisch also doesn't know the older Cup cars either, so not fighting that like others. That's a good point. That's a real good point because he didn't have to overcome the old car to be able to race the next gen car.
Very true. Very true. Although ARCA is a Gen 4 kind of car, but or not Gen 4, sorry, Gen 5, I think it is. But yeah, it's still the next gen is just a different ball game than what everything else has been accustomed to. We can move on here to the next topic. Here we got Michael McDowell and Spire still clicking. Any thoughts there? Go ahead, Sharon.
I did the fantasy report last week. I didn't do it as well as Taz does, but Michael McDowell was one driver that didn't seem to have that good of stats at Watkins Glen. He's a good road course racer. We know that, but he tends to fall off at the end. And in this race, he did not fall off. And if there was any driver that could keep up with SVG, it was Michael McDowell. So that was really good to see from him at Watkins Glen. That was almost like a win for Michael McDowell at that track.
Sharon, you took that right out of my mouth. And I think that if you'll look at the past for Michael McDowell, since he's left Michael Waltrip Racing, he's really tuned into a great road course racer. But unfortunately, I think what happens, but similar to AJ Allmendinger in his stats, you overdrive the race car, you overdo your equipment. And it's just the testament of the equipment that Spire is producing. Like, this was no joke with Michael McDowell. This was a solid finish. Spire is proving week in, week out, they're heading in the right direction. All SVG would have had to have done was blow out a tire, run over something on the racetrack, miss a corner, hit the wall, something to that, something break a toe link, passing somebody. And Michael McDowell, we would be talking about him in Victory Circle this past weekend. And I think that that's the testament to how far Spire has come. It's going to be interesting to see. I think that there are certain tracks where Spire is going to be really good at. One of them should be possibly Chicagoland, the other, the St. Louis racetrack. I think that he's ran really well there before. So it's going to be intriguing watching Michael McDowell in the second part of the season. Remember, this is only what year one for this guy, right? I mean, this is, and they were already trying to write him out and say that Kyle Busch was going to take his seat. But I think that it was announced that
I think this is
Mike
year 2.
Yeah, I think
is
this
it
is year 2.
is it year 2?
Yeah, I think it's year 2 for the Spire McDowell pairing.
He was there last year too. So this is his second year.
Okay. So Zane, okay, that would be right because him and Zane Smith swapped rides. Okay, so year 2. Okay, and obviously, I think that the equipment is that much better this year than it was last year. My bad on that. Time does fly when you're having fun. But all in all, they've tried to write him out of the race car, but I think it's been announced to him as well that he's got a long-term contract there at Spire. So I just don't foresee with him running as well as he did Inspire running as well as they are, that they're going to make a change here anytime soon. And it looks like McDowell may be able to race his way and keep that seat there. What about you, Taz?
I think I've seen good spurts out of McDowell this year, but yet I haven't seen any other good ones out of him so far. And I mentioned that because, I mean, yes, road courses he does well in. Super speedway is usually a contender in. But it's the other races that kind of make you question. Going back here, let's look at the 500. Let's see here. Nope, that's not. McDowell finished 22nd. So, I mean, Daytona. You're either going to hit it or you're going to miss it, depending on where you are at the exact moment. So, not going to knock him down on that one, per se.
Remember, they didn't have Gabehart last year either, Taz.
And he also has won a Daytona 500 before Spire. I got you there, Chris. Atlanta, he finished 20th, so a little shaky on that one. Go back to Circuit of the Americas, so I should see his name, 5th at Coda. So there's a road course knocked off there. Phoenix, I think this was another question. Oh no, he was 9th at Phoenix. Okay, so maybe a short, flatter oval might have gotten him that one.
Right.
Las Vegas. Let's see. We got. Nope, that's Suarez. Hocevar. McDowell, 26th. Okay, Las Vegas, not great showing. So we go to.
You're seeing a young race team come to their own. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing an organization and the whole starting to really come into their own. Whether it's Suarez, whether it's McDowell or Carson Hocevar, we have seen a tremendous leap in the finishes there at Spire Motorsports, Taz.
So the big finishes I'm seeing is so far this year for McDowell in the 71 is not only road courses, but maybe the shorter ovals, because Las Vegas, Darlington was like a 20th or worse finish. Martinsville, he struggled in. I'm looking up 24th at Bristol. So maybe he got good at Phoenix and hasn't figured out the other tracks. I don't know. Outside of the whole, I think road courses are his forte, but I think if we can find that 1.5 mile perfection for him, I think Spire and that 71 team will be good. but there's also people thinking that if McDowell was to possibly, not saying that he is, and I don't know if he will. We have seen a driver swap with Justin Haley and Corey LaJoie a couple years ago. People are saying maybe there could be an RCR Spire driver swap in Kyle Busch and Michael McDowell. Just I don't know. I'm not sure yet. And speaking of RCR, how about Kyle Busch with a crew chief change and actually finishing, what was it, top 10 in the last 2 races since his new crew chief?
And Austin Dillon.
So maybe it was a crew chief problem for Kyle Busch.
It's funny
I
that
would
you
agree
say
with
that.
that.
You
Go
know,
ahead.
Ty Gibbs said that, look, he felt like his team last year didn't believe in him. And this year he's got a team that believes in him. Maybe we have a crew chief that believes in Kyle Busch and they're going to feed off of each other. Completely forgot to put that into the notes about the resurgence of the last couple of weeks of Richard Childress Racing. Heck, Austin Dillon was running in the top 5 through most of the race.
Yeah, big difference.
RCR may have found some sort of stride with that. Let's see, hitting on to the next thing here. Connor Zilisch wins on Saturday, strong run Sunday, but disappointing finish with a flat tire. Over aggressive, other issues. Chris, we'll start with you on this one. How do we feel about Connor Zigzag, Mr. Ziggy?
Well, this is his learning year, and it's not been easy for him. He was desperate. You knew that. He feels in his heart that he has something to prove, or else he wouldn't have raced SVG the way that he did. And remember, these two have history of racing each other really hard. And I think that a lot of us had higher expectations for Zilisch up to this point. I do know that it takes some adjustments, and this car is nothing like the cars that he's driven previously. But I think that we've seen a flash in the pan. We've seen what he could do. We saw on Saturday what he's capable of. Of course, this is 2 years in a row. I think 2 or 3 years in a row that he's won Watkins Glen. Now, last year, I think he slipped up and broke his collarbone after the win. So the kid's got plenty of talent. And sure, this was disappointing, but he's learning the limitations of the race car. You go back and you look at Gordon, you go back and you look at Kyle Busch, you go back and look at some of these high profile drivers, and they had a learning curve. They had moments where they put the car in places that we compared to Dale Earnhardt, and then other times they were in over their skis and backed it into the wall or wrecked the field. I can name many times that Kyle Busch did that in his early career at Hendrick Motorsports. He did it so much it got him fired. I mean, it got him fired. Yeah, I mean, Connor's in that learning curve right now. He's got some room for improvement. Trackhouse has room for improvement. Chevrolet outside of Hendrick and Spire have room for improvement. So this is a building block for all of them. It's definitely Trackhouse has something to hang their hat on, that they were able to be so dominant with SVG basically on Saturday morning, telling you, man, I don't, the car's got to have a little bit more. It doesn't have as much as it had last year. So if this guy can still be 45 seconds ahead of the field in an extra pit stop. I think he won by 7 seconds, but either way that you look at it, if he felt like he was missing something from last year, then you have to believe that Trackhouse has been off track through most of this season. And so it's something that Connor's going to learn to grow from. The disappointment, I'm sure, was throughout the whole team. Once again, I have to say, as a fan of Red Bull and Red Bull sports over my last 20 years of my life, it is so awesome to see that Red Bull car out on the racetrack.
Yeah, I thought Connor Zilisch does a pretty good job overall. You're right. This is a next gen. Well, in the Xfinity series, we're talking about the Cup Series or Xfinity?
I think all together.
Okay, all together.
Yeah, I
In the
mean,
Cup
basically,
Series,
yeah. It was
I
a
think,
question kind of tied together between what he was able to accomplish on Saturday and the heartbreak that he had on Sunday.
yeah, I think it was a little bit of trying too hard. He wanted to be up there with SVG. This is a driver that most of the time when he gets behind the wheel of a car, he goes out there and wins. This has been a huge adjustment for him to come into the Cup Series and not be able to win. So he's kind of taken it in stride, all things considered. But road courses are a little bit of a specialty for him, and I think he saw this as an opportunity to showcase his skills. And he did pretty good up until he had the flat tire and everything, and it put him back in the field. Um, I think we've got a lot to look forward to with Connor Zilisch, and I think he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But I agree with Chris that he's going through a learning curve. You know, so many drivers think it's all about the speed, and at some of these road courses or any kind of track, really, it's not always about the speed. Sometimes you got to slow down in order to go fast and be there at the end to be able to contend for the win. So he wanted this one and he wanted it bad. And so he was going after it and he got a little bit over his skis, as Chris put it. Hunter Blaze, welcome, Hunter. It's good to see you here. Connor got humbled being full-time in Cup. Yeah, it was a little bit humbling, I'm sure, to not be able to come in and start winning those races. So it's good. It's an adjustment for a lot of drivers. Not many drivers come into the Cup Series and get into a next gen car and do well right off the bat, with the exception of SVG, who did extremely well in his very first race.
It's funny you say that, because if we remember correctly, when the next gen car did come out, what was it, 21, 22? Some
22.
of the veteran drivers that we were like, all right, these guys should be running up front. These guys should be dominating at this point in the season. But remember the first year of the next gen car, we should have had 16 different winners, or I should say 16 playoff contenders based off of wins. I know Kurt Busch, and I know I say that because Kurt Busch ended up getting a concussion, which sidelined him for the rest of the season, forcing him to retire from NASCAR competition. But aside the fact, we had, before the playoffs, we had 16 different winners. And it wasn't highlighted by, and when you hear that, there's no domination of one driver. Some of the veterans struggled for a bit. I think Kyle Busch was like a contender, but he didn't win until he got lucky on somebody else's mistake on the last lap, and he capitalized and he won the dirt race at Bristol. It's just one of those, and I think I think the next gen car should be running on dirt. I think they ran better than the Gen 6 car, or the old Gen 6 cars did, but you want to throw that a little bit out there. But yeah, I think there's always a learning curve. Obviously now we're a few years into it, so some of the more experienced guys are getting onto it. So now we're kind of seeing not so much of parity, kind of more of, the same handful of drivers and organizations, running up front, dominating, that sort of thing. But just so I think there's spots of brilliance, talent from Zilisch, because obviously you put him in an ARCA car, he's up front contending for a win. You put him in an O'Reilly car, he's the same deal. Regardless of what track it is, he's finding a way to do it. Now it's just a matter of getting the adjustment to the next gen car. Obviously, he's figured something out with road courses, because if you take away his mishap with, I think we've only, besides this race, we've done COTA for road courses. I think you take away his mishap with Coda, his mishap with Watkins Glen, he's an easy top 5 guy. I know when it came to fantasy stuff back at Coda, I kind of put him, as my garage driver, but I still had that hope that he would, live up to the talent that he was hyped up to be, the road course racer that we all know he is. And he delivered at Coda up until he had a mishap. He delivered at Watkins Glen until the mishap. So he's just got to learn the adjustment of the next gen car of where these mishaps are happening. How can he avoid it? What can he do to do better? But he's a young kid too. He's got time. As long as he can, progressively perform better year after year, I think he will do just fine. Shoot, if he falls into the right cards, he could land a top ride with. I mean, if he stays with Chevy, he could land over with Hendrick at some point in his career. I mean, he's got ties with Junior Motorsports, so Junior will probably lend him a hand in that. He's got the. He's got options. He can go over to Penske if Penske wanted to snag him up. He can go run for Gibbs if they wanted to snag him up. I think he's got a lot of options and a lot of time to get there.
Yeah, I agree, Taz. No need to panic just yet. There's okay, awesome. Uh, there's still a lot of room for left to grow, and we're when you see him light up the room, he has such a great personality. I remember when William Byron had that kind of presence, when he had that kind of personality. Unfortunately, Hendrick has dulled him to he's I can't even look at the guy like that's not my William Byron. That's not the guy that I watched in the Truck Series in a Kyle Busch race truck. That's not, over time, being a Hendricks just kind of changed him. I hope they never change Connor Zilisch because he's got the aurora of Adam Petty, of a Davey Allison. I don't want to pick all these guys that are dead, but I feel like, even Joey Logano, he's as quirky as can be. He puts on the helmet and he doesn't, he doesn't take prisoners. But when he's outside of the car and he doesn't have the helmet on, he's a great laugh. He's always chirpy. And that's what I feel like as a fan, that's what I want to see. I know it's all business when they get in the race car, but it needs some kind of personality when they're outside of it. Connor Zilisch, stay how you are and just try to, Carson Hocevar, another great example. We have two very young talents who know how to shine not only in the race car, but also in interviews and with the fans. So that in itself means I feel like Carson already has the world beat. Just figuring out how to win in this race car is the only thing he's got left. And I know for a lot of people that could be a big step, but I promise you, Connor has about as much talent in his pinky finger as most of us would have with 40 years of driving experience.
Okay.
All right.
Well, just look at Cole Custer. He's a good example. Great in the Xfinity series, but he struggles so much with that next gen car. But he had his first top 15. So that was pretty good in the next gen car and the steep learning curve that he has. So,
well, even Eric Amarola is a perfect example of a guy who couldn't really do much in the Cup Series, had a decent career, but you put him into a Joe Gibbs Toyota and he's phenomenal. And, it's just that much of a difference between being really good and great. And I know deep in my heart, Connor Zilisch has the great factor. He is an up and coming. He is the guy that's going to lead NASCAR into the future. And it's just a matter of time. So I'm not going to get on to him. I don't think anybody else here in this platform would get on to him. We just want to keep on seeing you drive the out of that race car.
There you go.
I did that. I beat that for you, Miss Sharon.
There you go. Yep. Thank you. Okay. Are we doing?
All right, Chris. Are you ready for your little jingle jangle?
Is it time? And I did post it. Now, look, the one I posted may not be the one you pick. I know that you've seen that we have 3 of them, so I kind of wanted to give you a chance to pick whichever one. And I guess I guess we can read all three of them if each of us want to read one. But yeah, it's time for guess what, guys? Stat of the day. Stat of the day. Stat of the day. Here comes that what? Stat of the day. Bah.
All right. Tyler Reddick now has the best average finish through 12 races seen in the Cup Series in over 30 years, which is the best since Ernie Irvin in 1994. And I think that was a 5.67, if I remembered that one right there, Chris.
Yes, I believe you're right.
His 5 wins are also tied with Kevin Harvick in 2018 for the most through 12 races since 97. And let's see here. Oh, I really like this one here. Watkins Glen was the first Craftsman Truck Series race to have 3 Rams finish in the top 10 over 17 years. Last time this was done was back in Martinsville of 2008, October 2008 to be exact, where Dennis Setzer finished 2nd, Sam Hornish Jr. finished 9th, and Timothy Peters finished 10th. Wow, 2 of those names I recognize real easy.
Right.
Setzer, I don't really. Setzer
He was
don't
an older
really.
cat.
Yeah, Setzer don't really much to me, but Hornish, who was a Cup regular at one point, and Timothy Peters was the guy who loved the Truck Series.
Oh yeah, yeah. The FD New York truck, right? I mean, he's the one that made that truck famous, wasn't he? FDNY.
Maybe, but
And
yeah.
Dennis Setzer, I know he's outside of your time, but he was a great. He was, I think, one of the very first inaugural season truck series stars. Him and quite a few others were kind of the backbone. I don't want to say a specific name because I think that guy got in a lot of trouble for some really bad stuff. So I don't want to say the wrong name and then have that on my chest. So, but Dennis Setzer and several others like Mike Skinner and Ron Hornaday and all, they were kind of the beginning of the truck series. So maybe Hornaday wasn't, but for sure Dennis Setzer was. And there's one more, Taz.
Oh, I must have missed one. I was gonna do the Ram thing. The Ram finished top 10 with 3 of their trucks this past weekend at Watkins Glen. Allmendinger, who drove the 25 free agent truck, finished 6th. Minnie Tyrell, who won his ride that he's got right now through the Ram race for the seat competition, finished 8th. His first career Truck Series top 10. Brendan Butterbean Queen in the 12 finished in 9th. LaJoy came very close, was 12th, and then Justin Haley kind of, off in the deep end. Let's see if I can find your other one.
Allmendinger got the best finish for Ram this year so far.
Oh, wow.
That was with his 6th place. Yeah.
That's cool.
Only 8 times in Cup Series history has a driver finished on the lead lap in the first 12 races of a season. We'll go back to the earliest date of 2007 for Matt Kenseth. Then 1 year later, in 2008, it was Jeff Burton. Fast forward 4 years later, it was Redneck Jesus himself, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 4 years later after that, in 2016, it was the old Busch brother, Kurt Busch. Then you want to flash forward 7 years. Yes, 7 years. Now I did my math right. 2023, Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin. And then, so far this year, Tyler Reddick and Ryan Preece.
Wow.
Yay.
Oh, yeah.
And then what about this one at the top here, Denny Hamlin?
Yeah, I think that's the one he missed.
Yeah. Did I miss that one? I didn't think I did.
Yep. I don't think you mentioned it.
Oh. Wow. I don't know how I missed that one. Denny Hamlin has won 5 races since Kyle Larson's last win, and now sits just 1 behind him for the most wins in the next-gen car.
Yep.
Interesting.
Fascinating.
Is it more fascinating by that stat or the fact that Kyle Larson has not won in almost a year? Or will it be a year now?
I think it's that one now. I think it's fascinating in the sense that Hamlin is pretty much caught up to Larson, since Larson's kind of hitting the lackluster. He's been in contention. He's been in contention, but hasn't found the finish line to get there.
Yeah, he's on a winless streak. I think it's up to like 35 races that he has now won.
It's crazy with the talent he has, and I'm telling you, it's that Indy Charlotte double that just hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, are we ready to move on to the next segment here, or no? Let's get to our watch list for this week.
Oh yeah, let's bring on Miss Sharon so that she can talk about what upcoming shows are going to come on. Oh wait, Sharon, what are you doing? Tell us about what's coming up.
All right, this week's watch list. We always start on Monday night with our Hot Topic Sound Off segment. Always at 8:15 p.m. Central Time. And Jay and I go over the weekend of racing for each of the series that raced during that weekend and the hot topics associated with those series. And as well as a review of the race itself. Then on Tuesday, we usually have an interview. This week, there is no interview, so watch for that next week. The last interview we had was actually from the track when they raced out at Shasta Speedway in the ARCA Menard Series. He talked to the entire team, Jan's racing team. So that's up on the Fan for Racing Radio YouTube channel. Then Wednesday is Race Chat Live at 6:00 Central Time every Wednesday night, except when there's inclement weather. And then
you're mean.
I wasn't trying to be mean.
You're mean. There was tornadoes everywhere.
I know, it was
keep
terrible.
my puppy dog safe. He doesn't like bad weather.
Definitely justified. No, it was nasty weather.
It was
wicked weather. It was really bad. So justified that they did not have the show that night. And but every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central, is Race Chat Live with Taz as the host, with Chris Crichton and CJ Sports, and tonight it's with me too. So next week, I'm sure CJ will probably be back. And then Jay and I do the previews for the upcoming weekend of racing. In this week, that is at Dover Motor Speedway. NASCAR's all top three series are racing with the Trucks O'Reilly and Cup Series. But then the ARCA Menards is having a combination event with the ARCA East out at Toledo Speedway this weekend. So we'll be previewing that race as well. And then Taz and I normally do the fantasy report. Man, we've had a string of bad luck here. We've been out for 3 weeks. We're going to have to make it one more week. There is no fantasy report for Friday because of the All-Star race. It's a non-points paying race, so no fantasy report this week. But we will be back, and that would be on the 22nd. And we'll have to talk about that, Taz. It might have to be on the website again because I'm going to be traveling, and I'll have to count on you to do it this time. So unfortunately,
my gosh,
we've had quite the string here. So watch for that to be on the website for next week. And then it's the weekend of racing, and I hope everybody enjoys their weekend of racing. I guess I could take this down. I don't know why. I still have that up there. The weekend of racing, we'll be right back again on Monday night, 8:15 p.m. Central Time for Hot Topic Sound Off. So
awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Sounds like you have a star-studded lineup.
All right. Well, we appreciate the watch list there, Miss Sharon. If you don't mind, you could stay on for a little bit longer.
It would be
Thank
much
you.
appreciated.
Hunter says he's excited for Dover. I'll be there this weekend to watch.
All
Good for
right.
you,
right.
Hunter.
Right.
We'll be looking for your feedback on Monday night to tell us what you thought of the race.
So let me get this figured out because I'm not that great on East Coast like geography. Okay, I got it out. Delaware is it southern to Watkins Glen or is it
Yes.
northern? It is southern. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's
You're
why we've not heard
closer.
all this.
You are southern and a little bit closer to the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay. So, but I mean, is there that much of a weather difference between Watkins Glen and Dover? Why not the uproar about Dover the same way that we had the uproar about Watkins Glen?
So Dover. So if you watch dirt track racing up here in the Northeast, states like Pennsylvania, Dover, New Jersey, they start earlier than New York because the weather for them hits a little better and a little quicker than us up here for New York and a little bit north. So hence, if Dover gets weather, yeah, they can get cold weather and can get wet weather. Just that they get a little bit more time to dry things up, whereas us in New York, where we just stay wet season until like mid to late May, early June. That's when we start to kind of actually dry things out.
Okay. All right. Just wondering.
Hunter says he's in New Jersey. It's about the same distance away from me than Pocono. So he's right in between Dover and Pocono.
Cool. Yeah. Anybody worried about Dover? Like whether or not it's probably on its way out off the schedule?
Being that it's an all-star race, a little bit. I personally think all-star race should be a night race. Why in the French is it a day race for crying out loud?
This is just a non-points paying race. I don't see anything
why is the all-star
this
format the way it is? Come on, NASCAR.
I don't know. I guess NASCAR was approved for 36 races for points and 2 to 3 exhibition races. And so in order to stay with that program and it probably all comes down to checks and balances, they couldn't make it a 37th points paying race. This is not an all-star format. This is not an all-star race. We need to quit fooling ourselves. We're going to have less cars starting Dover than what we're going to have at North Wilkesboro. And I don't know if y'all know the history of North Wilkesboro. I don't believe in the modern NASCAR era have they ever started more than 32 cars. This was pre-top 35 era. And if I'm not mistaken, most of the fields at North Wilkesboro were only 32 car fields. So absolutely insane that we are going to have a shortened field for Dover and not for a racetrack that absolutely does not have enough pit stalls for everybody. So I'm perplexed by that. But anyway, so on and so forth. I think we've got to move on.
Hunter says, I'm very ashamed that they used to have 2 cup races here every year on the schedule. And now with this format and them making it an all-star race, I almost didn't even want to go. And then Mama Bear says, and what's up with all the changes to the qualifying format for the all-star race this year?
Right.
It is very different than what we've seen before.
Right. That's
there is no
if you don't have
showdown
the
race.
if you don't have an open race, it's not an all-star event. Sorry.
Nah.
I mean, that's part of what the all-star, you wanted all those cars that hadn't won anything all year long to race against each other so that one guy could get the ability to go and race it, as we've seen with Mikey Waltrip, as we've seen the year Dale Earnhardt Jr. won. And I believe, was it Elliott Sat? No, that was Mikey Waltrip in the 21 car. Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's what we wanted to see. I think Casey Kane may have been the only other driver that won in his rookie year in the All-Star event. I'll have to check that out.
Yes.
But yeah,
I think
it's not an All-Star race. It's not. It's you're doing it in daytime. It's absolutely ridiculous for NASCAR to even call this an All-Star race. But we do have to move on.
Okay.
All right. Next on the gridlock here, we go under the hood. Controversy and deep dive discussion. There we go. Headset's still on,
Under the hood.
so I did it right this time.
Yes. You've been practicing.
Yes, you did very well.
So we got a. So Chris
Between you and
kinda came
Sydney
up.
Sweeney, I don't know who did it better. Under
Chris
the
came,
hood.
Chris came up with the idea of, because he loves silly season so much.
I love silly season.
He could probably live and breathe it 24/7,
I do.
365 days.
I'm always thinking 3 years ahead too. Like, guaranteed. I'm thinking 3 years ahead. Where will Tyler Reddick go next? That's what I'm working on right now.
So yeah, he's got a Wheel of Silly Season Fortune. How this works is, Sharon, I'm going to share screen this here right now.
And did you use the rides or the players? Which one
I
did you
used
use?
the rides.
So
I don't have the list of players.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll spin the wheel. Each of us will spin the wheel. Whoever it lands on, we're going to say who we think best fits that ride. All right. And once somebody's used, you can't use them again because that's the only way this is going to work.
All right.
Okay.
Who's
And
the
I
list?
believe,
Who's the players we're dealing with?
well, I think, holy crap, Taz. Holy crap, Batman. So you start naming them off, right? Hold on. We'll have to go back.
Based
Comment.
upon the entries here, obviously there's the 84 that is going to be new. There's the 35, so that's Riley Herbst. So we're kicking Riley apparently. 11 Herbs of Spices is going to be a player. Rowdy Bush is going to be a player. We have kicked out Josh Strawberry. I almost wrote down Strawberry. I almost wrote down Strawberry too. That's the sad part. We're kicking Michael McDowell. Let's see. We are kicking Pillsbury Dillboy, Ty Dillon. We are kicking Bubba Wallace. We are kicking Daniel Suarez. Ooh, Chris, you kicked your amigo out of here.
Yeah, and it should be colleague number 10.
Yeah, I got Ty Dillon on that one.
That's Allmendinger.
Dinger's a 16.
Oh, you're right. He's the 16. You're talking about the 10 truck Mini Tyrell?
So I've got
the 10 car.
Yeah.
In the Cup Series.
Yeah,
48
Ty
Hendrick.
Dillon.
That's
Ty
48
Dillon.
Hendrick. That's Bowman we're kicking. We're kicking Austin Cindric. So the 2 is open. And then there's the 84, which at the moment can be anybody pretty much.
Yeah, the 48. Don't forget the 48 because name has come up again.
That one. I got that
so
one.
It's 2311, 10, 71, 21, 8, 35, 84, 2, 48, 7, and I said 23. I started with 23. So
23, 10, 71, 21, 8, 35, 84, 2, 48, 7. Okay, those are the numbers we're working with.
Let's spin the wheel. Taz, since you put it together, I want you to do it first. This is creativeness. This is my mind at 2:00 in the morning where I'm like, we got to do something different because we did something different last week. So bear with me. It may or may not work. Taz, spin that wheel of Silly Season Fortune.
All right. So
come on, big money. Make it. What are we at?
Ooh, the number 7 Spire.
Kicking an ego down the road.
We're seeing. So we're saying who's going to be in this ride next year. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Who best fits the ride? I mean, you can keep the same guy, and we're not going to argue it.
I honestly think we will keep Daniel Suarez. I'm seeing good glimpses out of him. I think they'll keep him for another year at least. So Yeah, I see Daniel Suarez Amigo stays at the number 7 Spire. And we
I
will
would have been
take
a lot more creative, but okay.
we will take that ride out of the wheel.
Yes, we will. And Miss Sharon,
Miss Sharon, you get to deal with
the Wheel of Silly Season Fortune.
the calling number 10 card.
Oh, this is a good one.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a tough
Oh.
one.
Who would
I put in there?
Because this could be a future Stellantis Dodge ride, so you have to think about that. No announcements made yet.
There's that part of it too. I didn't think about that.
Right. All right, Miss Sharon.
Who would be a good one for that ride? I'm at a loss here. I don't think Ty Dillon is coming back.
Right.
I'm not going to keep him in that ride. Although I think he's probably better than he was anywhere else. Geez, I just don't know. If Alex Bowman were to leave Hendrick,
bam,
I would say maybe Alex Bowman in there.
Oh, good way to use the wheel to help you. There you go.
All right.
Good job. Yeah, Alex Bowman, he could be the face. And that's going to be messed up if I get a certain one, because I had my eye on a certain number that was kind of opposite of 48, and I was thinking the same thing. But go ahead. It's my turn for the Wheel of Silly Season.
You're right, Mama Bear.
Fortune.
Chris is having too much fun with this. Chris gets the numbers. Oh, I thought I spun it. Oh, I just removed it. That's what I did.
Okay.
All right, spin it to the controversial number 8 from RCR.
Oh my goodness! Wow. I've heard a lot of reports over the last couple of weeks. There's nowhere for Kyle Busch to go. There's just nowhere for him to go. But I'm not going to listen to that. This is Wheel of Silly Season Fortune. I got Jesse Love, the Love Man going to the 8 car. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah.
Before Austin.
What
Austin
happened?
is having an off year.
What happened?
Man,
what happened?
I was thinking somewhere else for Jesse Love. Man, you got me on that one.
I know. I throw the wrench in the bucket. That's what I do. Now, Taz, it's time for you to spin the Wheel of Silly Season Fortune.
Oh my God, he's killing me. Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. Oof. Now that I can get my abs under control. The 35-23-11.
Oh.
I've said it all year.
I've said it all year. 11 herbs and spices. You're fired. Get out of here.
And the time is Heim time.
I would have put Bush over there.
Nah.
But there you go. Yeah,
No.
Go ahead.
No.
Oh yeah. Heim needs one more year in Xfinity for sure.
Nah.
I don't think so.
Nah.
No.
He's ready.
He's ready.
He's ready. It's Heim time. Stop being a hater.
All right. All right, Miss Sharon, it is your turn for the Wheel of Silly Season Fortune.
She gets. Oh, that's 21 Wood Brothers.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
That's a Ford. Who would I put in there?
Well, I had heard rumors that Corey Haim was going there, but Taz is, he's took that name off the board already.
That's right.
Yeah, that name's not on there anymore. Well. Maybe, no, I don't see that happening. How come I get all the hard ones here?
Oh, man.
Because Ford is on the way out, I think. And man, they've got nobody in Xfinity Series in a Ford. What about Parker Retzlaff? maybe Parker Retzlaff from the
You could have always
Xfinity
kept Barry
Series
as well, but yeah,
moves up.
Ratcliffe, well,
We can
Oh
do
yeah,
that.
it could still be Josh Berry. That's true.
right.
But Parker Retzlaff, I've really been impressed with him in Viking Motorsports, so, kind of second tier equipment. And he's had top tens consistently in the
Okay.
O'Reilly series. So I think he deserves a chance. But I don't know if this is the one for him or not.
I was kind of thinking along the lines of Lane Riggs for some reason on this one.
Oh,
wow.
maybe.
But I kind of like the Retzlaff option.
Come on, let's go.
I kind of think Ford's going to go Ford 150s. I think they're going to just
going to
stick
be
the truck.
Will Silly Steven
Chris gets the 23-11-23 card. It's Denny Hamlin.
that is an interesting. It could be next year into 2028 for sure. I think we're going to go with Bubba Wallace. I think Bubba's going to stay there. He's got a good fit.
Okay.
He's got a team that it was built around him. I think that sponsorships are going to be the big concern going forward because when you're married to a guy that's won the first 5 races out of 12, I think that becomes harder and harder to sell personal sponsorships on that end. But all in all, people want to have their name attached to the Michael Jordan brand, especially right now. And so I think that that's going to kind of give Bubba a chance to stay put for the time being. I'm not sure that it will be forever as the 23, but I could definitely see Bubba Wallace stay in at least another year or two at 23-11.
All righty. We remove that from the list. And now I get to deal the card of, please give me the card. Please give me the card. Give me that.
Will
You son of a nutcracker. All right.
Yeah, it's going to get harder from here.
The number 2 Penske Ford. I say Austin Cindric. There's the curb. Penske will not get a veteran, so it rules out Kyle Busch and Michael McDowell. You know what? Penske got a rising superstar, Ryan Blaney from Wood Brothers. They're going to get a rising superstar of Josh Berry.
I think that's a good call.
That's a good call.
All right, Miss Sharon. Let's see what she gets dealt with. She gets dealt with what's going to look like the 48 Hendrick Motorsports Chevy.
I don't think Alex Bowman is going anywhere. I'd say keep Alex Bowman in the 48.
No Corey Day? Like, that's the news of the
Corey
week.
Day is pretty good.
No,
you're right.
No
Carson Cavapo?
No Raja? No Raja?
I don't think Raja's ready
we
yet.
don't have this budgeted. Let's go.
I agree with Mama Bear. I think Cindric stays in.
Gosh damn, Chris got the car I wanted.
Which one, the 84?
The 84 Legacy.
I can't see. Wow. That one's going to be a tough one. And I think that if I am Jimmy Johnson, I know that my top talent is Eric Jones. My second talent is John Hunter Nemechek. Who I bring in the 84, though you could have had Alex Bowman. You could have possibly even had a Kyle Busch. I think that those names start kind of thinning themselves out once you get it. Honestly, let's just say hypothetically, let's just go, you know what? If I were to search that free agent market and what we've talked about already today, my best bet is to put Austin Cindric in that 84 because I know that he's going to probably bring some sponsorship. So it would either be him or the 11 Herbs and Spices. Somebody that's going to bring some support because I just paid a whole lot of money for a charter and I got to get that back first. How about that?
Yeah. And Herbs does bring money with him.
So you're saying Austin Cindric for the ride?
Yeah, let's go with Austin Cindric.
All right. So that
You
leaves.
get the last one, Taz.
Yeah,
Who
I
is it?
know. We gotta spin the wheel because I mean it's
It's the
so
will of
it's
silly season.
I mean it's really not obvious. It's really not obvious at this point. I wonder which ride I'm gonna get. Oh hey look, the Spire 71 car. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
wow!
I've been saying it all along. It's going to be
Or not
Michael
to be.
McDowell because Kyle Busch is
Oh.
going down to the Truck Series.
Whoa! Wait, Kyle Busch was still on the table?
Yeah.
Well, then he's going to the '84 car. He's going to reunion back with Toyota. Please fix that. Oh my gosh, I forgot that Kyle Busch was out there.
Yeah,
But
Kyle
yeah,
Busch is
okay.
left.
So you're gonna. I mean, hey, you're sticking with Michael McDowell. That's a solid pick, man. That's a solid pick.
I think so.
Yeah, I didn't have Kyle Busch for the 84 or the 70 or not the 84. I didn't have him for the 71. I think he's going to chase after a Truck Series championship, in my honest opinion. I think the writing's on the wall. He's going to go with Spire after this year, I believe. But I just think the Truck Series championship, if he doesn't go for it now before he tries to compete with his son Brexton and try to teach Brexton the ropes and develop him, I don't think that Truck Series championship that he wants to run for is going to be in the picture.
All right, guys, we're gonna have to kind of run through this one. We are that was an amazing time. That was awesome. That was so much fun, y'all. Thank you.
Good work, you guys.
Yeah, thank you. All right, come on, Taz. Let's spit it out there.
All right, All-Star Week. Who's in? Who's out? We got.
I think we already said. Is this really an All-Star Week?
A lot of people aren't seeing it that way.
Feel it. It doesn't feel like it.
No. I think we can all agree with that. It's not. It's a very. Can you tell me why? Why does this not feel like All-Star Week? What is it about this week that makes it non-All-Star-ish? And let's go with that one because we do have to move.
Track, time of day.
I agree, Miss Sharon.
That's part of it. I think also being associated with a holiday, like I think they need to associate it with something like Memorial Day, 4th of July. I think All-Star Week for 4th of July would be perfect because you could tie it around the red, white, and blue, make it a big all-star event. I think that I would like to see it tied around that.
You're onto something.
The road course at the runway course or whatever it is in San Diego would have been a perfect all-star event. I like that, Sharon. I do. I like that idea a lot.
I think it should be at night.
I'm a traditionalist. I didn't see any need to move the All-Star race, move it back to Charlotte. That gave those guys kind of an extra off week. Now you're making them travel. It's give it back to them. That's it would help them get an extra off week. It was fine in Charlotte. That's their home All-Star event, and they had it down pat. I'm not sure why they moved it. I'm a traditionalist. Bring it back. Let's put it back in Charlotte. Let's give the guys 2 weeks. I'm all about fixing what we've done messed up. And we start by going back to Daytona for Speed Weeks, and then we have a freaking all-star race at Charlotte the week before the Coca-Cola 600. The reason why those two worked well together is because Indianapolis has bump week, right? They have qualifying and all that. And it was like, okay, everybody's at Indy and then everybody's at Charlotte. So it kind of gave this, everybody was at home type feeling. So I know Indy cars are traditionally located in Charlotte as well, but you don't call it the Indianapolis 500. You don't call them Indy cars if they're not somehow or another freaking related. Thank you.
Or even a salute to the veterans would work if they did something like that for the All-Star race. If they'd done something like that at Dover, I think it would have had more of that feel.
Okay.
All right. Speaking of Indy, Katherine Legge.
Bring in lights. If they had just brought lights to Dover, I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm gonna let it go.
Too, yeah.
Just bring the freaking lights. They lit up Bristol before they had. Bring the freaking lights. Bring the lights. I'm done.
Yep.
All right.
This guy preached.
This news caught everybody off guard. Cut it out. Look, yeah, let's roll.
Katherine Legge, speaking of Indy, is attempting the double duty Indy 500 and Coca-Cola 600, as she has her sponsor for IndyCar has also now backed her with the BJ McLeod owned 78 car. I think it's like ELF or whatever the heck the sponsor is. It's like a makeup company or something like that. But yeah, they backed her up for IndyCar, and they decided to back her up with the Coke 600. Last time this was done was, well, Kyle Larson for the last 2 years. And he failed both times. So can Katherine Legge do it?
Well, she might be able to do it, but it's a good marketing idea, but I think it's going to be a lot more strenuous than she realizes. And it depends on the weather.
I know she mentioned that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So when she said when it came about, she had to jump on it because she feels like this will never happen again. So she had to jump on it when it was there.
Oh, and then look, I mean, only 5 drivers. Hold on. Gosh, dog it.
I know Robbie Gordon has done it before. Tony Stewart has done it before, but Stewart was the most successful of it.
Tony Stewart, John Andretti, Robbie Gordon, Kurt Busch, and Kyle Larson.
Oh, yeah.
Kurt Busch did you notice Danica Patrick's name was not in there?
Didn't Andretti?
John
Andretti?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes. That was 94. He was the first driver to ever do it.
Right.
Yeah, rest in peace, John Andretti. So Katherine Legge is doing what Danica Patrick couldn't do. I know that this is the first female type of thing, and if you're kind of tired of hearing all that, that's fine. She's adding her name to only a list of 5 other people that have ever done this before. This is a great opportunity. My wife, the first thing that she said at Watkins Glen when she would notice that Katherine Legge was in the field was, at least she has a makeup sponsor, right? I mean, she's a marketable gal. And for her to be given this opportunity, though it's a last-minute deal, we're not expecting Katherine Legge to go win the Indianapolis 500 or the Coca-Cola 600. But it's going to be really cool seeing a female driver who's probably one of the best female drivers in the world with the same ability to compete, just like what Kyle Larson, John Andretti, Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, and Robbie Gordon have done. And look, she's got, when it comes to talent-wise, she's open wheel all the way. Like, this is more like, this is more like Robbie Gordon coming over or John, John Andretti. It's even though his last name was Andretti, I think he really had a lot more NASCAR experience than he did ever open wheel. But Tony Stewart, of course, we know Tony Stewart come from kart. He was an open wheel guy. So we're talking about a driver who's acclimated to what an Indy car does, and she's got a really good ride. So I expect her to do really well in the Indianapolis 500, and just to be able to show up and make the race at the Coca-Cola 600 is a success. It's a win.
Yes.
I hope that they have a backup driver, because I don't want to see her having to get out of the Indy car to fly down to Charlotte in case there's weather delays or anything to that matter, which it's Indianapolis. We know that there could possibly be weather delays. So I hope that BJ has all that set up to, if anything, I'm sure he can just put on his driver's suit and helmet and jump in the race car. So, but I want to see it. I want to see it happen. I don't want to see any asterisk beside it or anything like that. I want to see Katherine Legge. I'm a big fan of hers. I am a big fan of Katherine Legge because I am a fan of a racing woman. I love the fact that she is a true racer. And she is everything that the sport needs. We don't need a supermodel. We don't need Natalie Decker. We need Katherine Legge of the world. I just said Katherine Legge. Yeah. Okay. All right. So it is under the hood. So
Mama Bear brings
legs for
Mama Bear brings up a good point. She says Craig brought up a good point earlier. She stands a better chance of winning Indy versus Charlotte. And how does a win impact getting to Charlotte on time? And let me just say, they had a conversation about this on Sirius XM this morning with Ryan Blaney. He says, can you imagine if somebody won the the Indy 500 and they'd say, "Give me that milk to go." And the little milk carton that they use in grade school, so that I can get to the next race on time.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a good thought.
Milk carton.
Thank you, Miss Lee.
Need to put it in like a little sippy cup.
Hey, Miss Lee, if we have any more call-ins, you're going to be next on the list to sub. Trust me. Just stay where you are.
Yeah, that was really good. So yeah, that would be cool if she were to win that race, though. But it would be a logistical nightmare for getting her to the Coke 600 on time. So think about that when you're thinking about people who are doing that double. If they ever were to win, it would be a logistical nightmare.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she's never going to get the amount of coverage that a Kyle Larson or basically any of these other guys have ever gotten. She'll just be a little side note by the broadcasters. But I hope that they do feed into it more and give her the credit where credit is due, because very few drivers, especially even female drivers, may I add, could make that kind of leap and go from one race car to the. That's 1,100 miles, guys, in one day. That, that's going to be one tough woman to accomplish that.
And I'll tell you, it's going to bring some young people to the sport because that e.l.f. brand of makeup that they're talking about caters to the younger people. And she and Mama Bear says she's a legit racer. She is a legit racer, especially in the IndyCar. And I think that a lot of people are going to tune in. And hopefully she'll bring some new eyes to the sport with a younger group of women that will be watching to see her make that double happen.
All right.
Yeah. We got, let's see, NASCAR. Is NASCAR headed back to the Chicago Street Course?
Is that a rumor?
That's yeah. When I saw that, Chris, that kind of turned my head. So can you elaborate?
Well, they're in discussion. It's been all over the news. Bob Pockrass has talked about it. NASCAR is looking into going back to Chicago in 2027 for another street course race. And look, it all comes down to marketing. And of course, to get TNT and Amazon signed on, I think that that this was one of those races used. It was very popular. I just haven't heard very much about Chicagoland. It's kind of like the Dover the Cup schedule, and I hate that because I love Chicagoland. I think it's such a great racetrack. It gives an awesome race. It's almost like a homestead. You can't just pick one single driver and say, okay, he's going to be good there. Alex Bowman, I think, is probably one of the better drivers at Chicagoland. So, yeah, that's wild. Slide down. That's right. That's right. That was Dale Jr.'s weekend, man. So that was his coming out party. But yeah, I think that I would see that it's a good move. Of course, you're not going to do San Diego again. That's a for sure. So I think they like the idea of the street course. It's been tossed around some other cities. I think the disaster that they're seeing the IndyCar deal in Washington, D.C. probably has NASCAR thinking, wait, we did it really good here. Let's just see if we can re-up and do it again. Will that cost Chicagoland its date? I am going to go out on a limb and say, no, it's not going to cost Chicagoland its date. I think that Chicagoland will stay. I think the market is big enough, but unfortunately, I do have a racetrack that I think we're going to lose.
Yeah, I think we'll lose if we get Chicagoland and the street course. Somebody's losing a date out of this, and
it's going to be the St. Louis track, and I can see it that the sponsor Illinois sponsors the St. Louis track. So I think that maybe they are the ones that could really be pushing that. I think, and as much as I love St. Louis, and I've even talked about St. Louis even being the championship finale, it's obvious if NASCAR has the ability to go back to a street course and you put in all the money to reopen Chicagoland, it's the typical changing of the schedule. And I think that the evolution says that Kentucky Speedway will come back soon enough, right? That's such a tight little area. what we over here in the South don't understand, and what I think you have a hard time understanding as well, but you can kind of pinpoint how close your states are in the North, how close Chicago is to everything, and how close, especially Miss Lee. Miss Lee's like 6 hours from everything. I mean, literally, like Ohio is like the central point to everything. And you can get in Kentucky, and you're 4 or 5 hours to Chicago. St. Louis, they're all these areas are so close. Detroit, I think, when you're down here in the South, and your state's like 250 miles long, you don't really, it's just hard to fathom that there's literally states in the northeastern side that are smaller than counties we have in the state of Mississippi. So I think that you're just too bunched up there. Somebody's going to wind up losing a date, and I believe it won't be Indianapolis. So the next pick would have to be probably St. Louis. But I do believe that this is going to happen. What are your thoughts? Sorry, I didn't mean to take that one over.
No,
Go ahead. Yes.
I'm a little surprised of Gateway a bit, being that could be a possible opportunity that NASCAR and IndyCar could work out a doubleheader weekend with. Being that we've seen it work with Phoenix, so if they were to do it again, I think that track would be an option. Just
so could the street course.
If IndyCar chooses the Chicago street course, then yeah. But
damn. Michelle, you got any ideas?
I like the idea. I mean, I know the Chicago area. I'd love to see 2 races in that area, but I don't know that's. I have my doubts about whether or not that would happen. They would have to do it like a spring and a fall race versus the middle, July 4th race. And I don't know that Chicago is the best race to have on July 4th. I think there are other options that could be better than Chicago for the July 4th race. So if they did spring, fall, late spring, and that's hard to do in May. April's going to be too early. Yeah,
how was your weather last week?
Maybe. Pardon me.
How was your weather last week?
It's been cold. We're just now hitting maybe some 70s and stuff like that. But we had like 84 degrees one day and then 64 degrees the next day. So it's very iffy what kind of weather you're going to get. With regard to the fall September race, I like a September race for the Chicago area because September or even late September, I would say, for Chicago. July, it's too hot in Chicago to have that race in Chicago. If it was the street course, maybe because you get a little bit of coolness off of the lake. But out at Joliet, that's not a good time. It's just not a good time. There's better options for July 4th. So I would say late spring, early fall, and late spring would have to probably be June. Say June, September would be good dates for those 2 races if it were to happen. And then what was the other? Oh, we got some other comments here. I'm missing comments. Chicagoland is sorely missed. It is. There was good racing at Chicagoland Speedway. I love the racing at Chicagoland Speedway. She says, I wish they would bring Kentucky back. Good memories there. Kentucky is an hour away or so. Chicago, 4 hours away. Oh, if you come to Chicago, let me know, Mama Bear. We'll have to meet up.
That's the one. Okay. So I love that.
Okay, so
last thing under the hood we got to get through because we got to make sure we have time for the rankings here. We have some stuff to try to see if we can blow through it. Hayek re-signs Ricky Stenhouse for a multi-year extension, which pretty much puts the rumor of Hayek selling their charter to RFK to rest. Comments, anything?
Yeah, it puts RFK in a hell of a position. I think that what better way to say we're not interested, right? There's no for sale sign on their door. Obviously, it gives them time to figure out what else could be in the books. But I was kind of surprised. I really thought that Hayek was probably trying to get out, but they've done a lot with their little race team, and this year it's probably been. I mean, Ricky's knocking on the door for making the chase, right? He's somewhere in the top 20 in points, isn't he? I mean, he's done really well. So
I know Hayek
um,
has been all over. Speaking of rankings, Hayek itself has just been up and down in the rankings. I know they started as the #1 team through Daytona, but they fell way down into the basement. But at one point they were climbing back up towards mid pack. So it's not hasn't been as abysmal. Ricky is 27th in points right now.
27. Okay. Well, I mean, still not bad for a single car team that's probably not getting much manufacturing support. I did hear an interview with Brad Doherty, and Brad Doherty said, "Hey, we don't do this for the money. If we were doing it for the money, we would have shut down a long time ago. They love racing." He's, he's now competing against his former teammate, former alumni, Michael Jordan. I think that Brad Doherty had a lot to do with Michael Jordan coming into the sport, besides Denny Hamlin. So I'm just glad to see Hayek continuing to tick on along. I think that if they were going to sell um their charter, they would have probably sold it when Ryan Priest left the first time. Obviously those. Would you sell to? Of course, what we forgot about on all this was part of the ownership left. What was it? What were they called? What were they called before they were Hayek?
JTG Doherty.
JTG Doherty. Yeah. Okay. So they left. Like those guys left and went to RFK, and they brought the Kroger sponsorship. Tad Dunsker or something. I don't even know. Tad something. And
I
basically
know
they
the
were
name, and
the Kroger owners or whatever, and they moved their sponsorship and all over to RFK and became partners with them. They weren't able to take the charter with them. So I'm not really surprised when you really start to look at things that, basically they may have led RFK to believe that they may make a deal. But in the end, why do you make a deal with somebody who's already kind of left you hanging? So kudos to Ricky. There was probably no other place for him to go. So at least he'll be able to stay into a legit cup ride. We know there's 3 races out of the year where Ricky Stenhouse can bring home a win over there at Hayek Motorsports.
I think they might have thought that maybe they would get that charter that is up in the air, and he would go to RFK Racing, but that charter hasn't materialized, so
Right.
that's part of it.
All right. Let's go to segment 3.
Standout, shout out, shout down. We have to kind of breeze through this one. 3 names to stood amongst the rest for this past week. We each have our own. We'll bring forward to the table without discussion. I will stand out first with this one. I'm going to do shout down first, actually. Shout down to NASCAR for scheduling Watkins Glen in May. When it just terrible decision scheduling right there. Shout out goes to Connor Zilisch. The fact that he ran 3 races this past weekend in the NASCAR's 3 branches. The fact that he finished second in the trucks, I think it was, won the O'Reilly race on the last lap pass, and was a contender for the Cup race. Take away the blown tire, and he was a he was a true standout contender. Another shout out, Minnie Tyrell, for his first top 10 NASCAR in his NASCAR career. And my standout is Caden Honeycutt for winning 4 races this past weekend. The ARCA and Truck sweep Friday at Watkins Glen, and then he did the Cars Tour sweep at, I think it was Ace Speedway. Where they at?
Yeah, Ace Speedway.
Yeah, so Caden Honeycutt, stand out. Chris, over to you.
Yeah, you let's just say the standout would have been a Honeycutt, of course. I have that one as well. Katherine Legge is my shout out. Go girl, you go girl. I want to see you do really good. I'm pulling for you. And my shout down is NASCAR. You got to do something. You can't let Cody Ware knock down walls at road courses and street courses and not throw a caution. At some point in time, this kid needs to be checked for head concussions because in the last year, we have seen him take out the wall at the Chicago street course and then bust the wall at Watkins Glen. Neither one of those hits led to a caution. I don't know if it's where's Cody? I
That's
don't
right.
know.
Cody who? Cody where? Cody who?
What Cody? Where what Cody? Yeah. Yeah, that should be it. Where what Cody? Because obviously NASCAR does not give two craps that Cody is a wall banger and probably hits the wall at the least opportune time. Come on, Tess, hold it together.
Oh.
Okay, I think
Sharon,
you
go
guys
ahead.
did really good. Oh, okay. I think you guys did really good with all your shout outs here, but I'm going to go SVG for the standout. The fact that he made up so much ground in so little time and won that race was amazing to me. Something that we will never see again, except maybe by him in any other race. So I give my standout to SVG. My shout out I put down, and I like those shout outs, the standouts that you had. I gave it to Michael McDowell because I think McDowell showed big improvement at Watkins Glen with that second place finish and was about the only guy that kept up with SVG. My shout down, I'm going to shout down NASCAR, and it's funny that we all had a shout down to NASCAR. Mine goes in the Truck Series race when they penalized, gave Gio Ruggiero a penalty for a restart violation. And then after the race, they called him into the holler to apologize because they realized that he was hit from behind and that it wasn't his fault that he jumped that restart. And I give him kudos for apologizing, but and I know they're looking at it and wanting to make changes so that they get communications through the tower a lot more quickly than they did. But they couldn't take it back during the race because people had already made their pit stops. And so you couldn't undo the pit stops and the fresher tires. So, and I'm going to call out Ross Chastain here too, because Ross Chastain should have known better than to have the restart violation that he had. They were told in the drivers meeting and everything else. I like Ross Chastain, so it has nothing to do with that. I was disappointed though that he had that restart violation at Watkins Glen.
All right.
All right, brings us to our weekly poll question for the week. Is Chicago a big? So we'll just answer yes or no on this one. Is Chicago big enough market to host the street course race and the Chicagoland Oval in the same season? I say why not?
I vote yes.
I'm going to disappoint you guys, and I'm going to vote no. And it goes back to when they had IndyCar and NASCAR racing there at the same year, and they didn't have the market for the IndyCar race. I mean, people came to the NASCAR race, they didn't come to the IndyCar race, and that was disappointing because I went to both. But I think it's going to be a challenge unless they do early summer in the fall. They've got to split it up that way. So we'll see. I don't think so.
All right. Chris, I may have to skip over this last one so we can get the ranking.
Yeah, the long run, that's what if the long run is what it is. That's if we don't get a caution. I think this time we got a caution with the wheel. Actually, let's just hit it one time. What's your one big disappointment and one big surprise of the year? My big surprise is Tyler Reddick. My big disappointment is Watkins Glen.
I think the big disappointment so far would be Trackhouse as an organization. Big surprise. Honestly, I would say RFK as an organization is a big surprise. I know they were. I will quickly explain it. 2 years ago, they were a 2-car team, were doing pretty well. Last year, they through a bunch of hiccups. This year, they recovered, and massively so.
Good points.
Oh,
Miss Sharon.
okay. Big disappointment is going to be, I had it and then I lost it. My, I guess I would say RCR. RCR and their performance in the early half of the season, I think, is a huge disappointment. And then my other disappointment, I know what my disappointment was, Christopher Bell. How many times have I picked Christopher Bell and he hasn't come through?
Right.
He was one of my top 3 picks for Watkins Glen, and he just never made anything happen. I'm so disappointed with Christopher Bell. I expected more out of him. And then my big surprise, I'm going to say, is Brett Cruz. I knew he was going to be good, but he's already made it into the chase contention for the O'Reilly series. So,
and he's not even racing all of the races, right?
And yeah, he was not old enough to race the early part of the season, but he hit his birthday and now he's racing full time and he's already made it into the chase contention. So big deal there.
Yeah. I've been a big proponent of Brent Cruz. I know a lot of people were sleeping on the fact that they didn't really know who he was. But we're talking about he's in contention for 20. I mean, we will regroup the points, right? And if he's rolling this good, you could see even if he backs it in like 10th or 11th, like once that chase gets going, I mean, Brent could very well be a favorite for the championship. He's going to have to outseed Algar. But for sure, there's definitely and Taz. I know we felt rushed and all, but we look at the clock and it's 1 hour and 47 seconds. So I still feel like we're actually right on time there. We did just get a little bit of a late start here today. So Taz, it's Taz's weekly NASCAR team rankings. Yeah, we didn't have one last week, so I think you had.
I missed the ball on that one, so we'll kind of go over both.
Okay. Oh, both?
Well, because I do list like where they were ranked in the previous week, so it does kind of. So the rankings you will see.
Do you have it?
I have the share.
Oh, here I see it. There it is.
All right, so our basement 5 for week 12 after Watkins Glen. We have Rick Ware Racing, who is at number 14, go before Watkins Glen. Haas Factory moves up 1 from 15. As you see, these are rankings the week before Watkins Glen. So they're at that ranking heading in. Now coming out is where they are now. Rick Ware from 14 to 15. Haas Factory was 15 last week, now moves up to 14. Wood Brothers was 12 last week, goes down 1 after the Glen at 13. Hayek, one of the big movers this week.
Still small.
Hayek goes from number 9 before the Glen to number 12 this week. Colleague Racing stays at number 11 for another week in a row. I do want to say that is their 4th, 5th, 6th week at number 11.
Okay.
Thoughts here?
Sorry. I mean, I can see. It's hard to argue. The colleagues still doing more with less. Rick Ware Racing is like they suck. They've got to get things together over at Rick Ware, or NASCAR is going to wind up forcing Rick Ware to sell. And I think that's something's got to give here. Rick Ware, you either need to put somebody that can drive in the car, or you just need to. There's too many competitive teams that are looking for that third charter to continue wasting our time with Rick Ware Racing. I'm done.
Yeah, NASCAR needs to take that charter back. It's been a long time coming, and why they haven't up to this point, I'm not sure. But yeah, I would agree with that. And everything else looks fine to me.
All right, we move over to the climbing 5, where front row heading into Watkins Glen was at number 9, fall down one spot to 10 after the weekend. Legacy Motor Club flips with Front Row Motorsports, going from number 10 to number 9. RCR, the big mover of the week, goes from number 12 before the Glen to number 8 after stellar performances from Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch. Trackhouse and Spire lock in at 6 and 7 for another week in a row. And for Trackhouse and Spire, they have locked in the 6 and 7 spot since Spire locked in the 6th spot since Las Vegas. So week 5, they've been sitting here. Trackhouse has been sitting in the number 7 spot since after Darlington. So it's been 7 weeks for Spire at the 6th spot. 6 weeks for Trackhouse at the 7.
That all looks good to me.
I mean, RCR's putting in the work, and they look good. They look better, I should say. Legacy, I mean, your star powers and Eric Jones. He's had a couple of bad races. Front row did some disappointment, man. They were moving in the right direction. Maybe maybe it's just the road courses that set them back. But with 3 charters and Noah Gregson, like Noah is a lot more talented than what we're seeing right now. He's great for the sport. I don't want to see Noah wind up wasting a career in bad equipment. So I think that's something that's got to get fixed. And front row, really, they had the opportunity to improve, and I thought that's what they were doing, but they've still got a long way to go. And we're not talking about an organization that's been around for 5 or 10 years. Front Row Motorsports has been around for I would say almost 2 decades now. So they've had plenty of time to get it together and to grow. And after winning that lawsuit and seeing what 2311 has done, knowing that they've had extra money put into their organization that they weren't expecting, I've expected better results. So it's disheartening to see them at number 10. I know that they're better than that.
Jay Hughesman is in the house. He says Priest/RFK deserve it. Chase contender.
Oh, yeah. I think he's commenting with the Rick Ware Racing.
Yes.
All right. So the top 5 that you'll see here shortly, they did not move at all before the Glen. Before the Glen and after the Glen, they stayed the same. So your top 5, Chris, I hope you're happy about this, because for the 2nd week in a row, RFK Racing takes the top spot.
Even with the 25-point deduction?
Yes.
Even with all right, good deal. I like that.
And here's the funny part. Priest did not move in the standings after the 25-point deduction.
But it hurt.
It hurts, but he didn't move, so there's a plus side to that. RFK Racing with the top spot, 2nd week in a row. Joe Gibbs Racing at number 2, Penske 3, Hendrick 4, 2311 5. I mean,
I'm a little surprised you didn't move up 2311 with Shane Van Gisbergen and Connor Zilisch winning. I know this is just Cup.
Those are Trackhouse guys.
Oh, that's right. They're Trackhouse. What am I thinking? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. 2311, I can see them having a tough time holding this spot if the results don't keep coming in. Bubba Wallace was sitting 2nd in points. Then he dropped, I think, to 10th. I think he's somewhere. Where's he at now?
I think he was down to 12th at one point.
12th, yeah. So he's falling fast. We've seen a glimpse of Riley Herbst and some sort of improvement. It's sad to say the 67 has been more competitive than Bubba Wallace and Riley Herbst. So 2311, Tyler Reddick's got to keep the momentum, or I could see Spire maybe moving up there or something to that matter. I mean, watch out. I thought 2311 was going to be a top tier team, but it's going to take the entire organization like we see with RFK. There's a reason why RFK is number 1 here today. There's a reason, and it's called consistency. And they are consistent.
Jay says that points deduction is bogus.
It is. It absolutely is.
RFK in terms of points, so we'll go over this real quick. 5th from Busher, I believe, and then 9th and 10th. We've said it all year long. RFK as an organization has played all year long. All 3 cars are literally mixed together. There's no one car stands out away from the rest of them. Each week, you don't know which one is going to be the top performer. That's how close and consistent as an organization they have been all year. And the fact that Ryan Preece so far through 12 races has been on the lead lap for the whole season really shows the growth of RFK.
Yeah, kudos. Not a better deserving organization. And not so much because Roush was a great guy and all that, because Roush wasn't a great guy. He was a hard ass. And he really he did it a certain way at Roush. And then he had to get help, and now he's gotten the stability needed for the organization. What Brad Keselowski did for Roush Fenway cannot be praised enough. Let's just put it like that. Because I'll be honest with you, Roush was on his way out. That whole organization, I think John Henry was on his way out. I think the entire shop was on its way out. RFK has turned Keselowski has turned RFK into a legit championship contender, and it only took him 3 years to do it. Roush had struggled for the last decade.
Yep. That was a big turnaround for RFK. Bringing Brad Keselowski into that organization was the best thing that's happened to them in probably at least a decade, if not 2 decades.
Right.
Hey, I'm gonna do a quick shout out. So
wait, we already did that.
No, I want to make this quick before we go do the sponsor shout out and close the show. Christopher Bell is piloting the Halmar Friesen number 62 Northeast Dirt Modified tonight, right now at Georgetown Speedway in Delaware. And ladies and gentlemen, for his first Super Dirt Car Series Big Block Modified race, he has qualified into tonight's main event, and he finished 3rd in his heat race. So I think he may have done enough. So I think he may have done enough to get into the redraw for his top 12 starting spot. Dirt Vision.
Oh crap! I hate Dirt Vision. Just because they're. I mean, I don't hate it as in hate. I just hate that I don't have it.
but yeah, Christopher.
We were thinking about it. It's just too expensive, man. $40 a month, bro. That's just like gosh.
Yeah, that's
and we're thinking about signing up for Hell Month or whatever it is.
So
but I don't know.
Christopher Bell, top 5 transfer from each heat. There were 4 heat races, and they do a redraw of top 12 spots. So yeah, Christopher Bell made the redraw. So he is in the show and will be redrawing for his top 12 starting spot.
Very cool. Jay says a couple of organizations need to do the same. Bring key person in and let them take control.
Tony Stewart did it with Haas. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, and that's I think that's what they're with RFK. You had to give Keselowski the ability to make changes at all costs. And it's crazy to think that a guy who micromanaged his entire Cup existence and bumped heads with none other than Mark Martin. If you hear the back and forth, Mark Martin, him and Roush really were at ends with each other a lot. Yeah. But Mark always felt like Roush had his back. Yes. And that's what kept them two together. So I don't know what Brad Keselowski has to deal with Roush in this day and age. He may be more of just a figurehead than an actual innovator that he was. It's hard to be an innovator with these types of cars. But Roush did not make it easy on anybody. And if you want to know how bad it was over at Roush, just hear Jamie McMurray's crybaby interviews about how terrible it was over there at Roush. I mean, absolutely, the guy makes it like Roush was a horrible stepdaddy and just treated him so bad.
I've heard some stories about Roush Fenway.
But when you're the number 5 guy and you're competing with Carl Edwards, Matt Kenseth, Greg Biffle, do you think that those guys are going to make it easy for little old peasy Jamie McMurray? I mean, look at the guy's hairdo, for crying out loud. I mean, between him and Ben Shelton, slow down. Jesus.
Okay. So
All
where
right,
are we
so
at here?
we got to do the sponsor shout outs to make this show happen.
Okay,
First
let's
and
start with
foremost, we got the Carolina Sports Plus, Mario and those guys down there.
Shout out.
Make sure you check them out on Facebook. I know Mario's been doing a lot of work down there, not only with his shop but also media wise. Next, we have McMillan's Lawn Care Landscaping
That's
over in
why
the
he's not
Ohio
here tonight.
over in the Ohio area. I know he's been very busy the last couple of weeks. So give him a call, 937-999-9793. Next, we have the 110 Nation Sports and Collectibles LLC. They have, I think, 4 locations now, if I'm correct, 4 or 5. But check out their website, the 110 Sports and Collectibles Company.com. If you're not in the Ohio area, to check them out in your area for Ohio. And then, of course, we have that Why Not Kid Designs. That is Chris's boy. That is Connor, right? I could be wrong on the name there.
That is Connor. Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. And he's doing a great job. Look, he's got 3 new wrap designs. He's just designed a T-shirt. I think last week he did a pit box, like one of them cool NASCAR pit boxes, the rolling pit boxes or whatever. He did one of those. Like, this kid is knocking it out of the park. I'm just so happy to see 17 years old, still in high school, fixing to be a senior, and already kind of headed in the right direction for what he's going to do for the rest of his life, hopefully. So shout out to that Why Not Kid Designs. If you need a design, that Why Not Kid can take care of it.
Chris. Jay says Chris ragging on hair is funny.
Why? Why is it funny? Please explain.
And then Mama Bear likes the show, and it's a pleasure to be here tonight. So thank you for inviting me in.
Look, I'm going to tell you something real quick. I spent 40-something years of my life clean cut, no tattoos, no earrings, no facial hair. And something just clicked into me about a year or so ago. And I said, you know what? I didn't become a millionaire by being clean shaved and short haired. So obviously I'm never going to make my $1 million. I have not gone out and got tattoos and earrings, though they have crossed my mind. But I kind of like the hippie look. I kind of like the long hair. Every time the Charlie Daniels song, Long Hair Country Boy, comes on, I jack that shit up, okay? I turn the volume on high because that's my song. So you can leave this long-haired country boy alone.
Okie doke.
All right. We want to
that's
thank
Okie
everyone
from Muskogee. I think that's a Merle Haggard, but anyway.
We want to thank everyone for listening on to the show tonight. I know a late start, a little bit of a late ending, but don't forget to subscribe for Fan for Racing for not only our live shows, but all the other stuff that Sharon puts out each and every week, just about every day of the week. But with that being said, it's been the Caution Flag Race Radio, Chris Creighton, Miss Sharon of Fan for Racing Radio Network. Thank you, Sharon, for filling in for Mr. CJ tonight. I'm the Tasmanian Devil Flaggers, Taz Taylor, saying good night. See y'all next week. Same bat time, same bat place.
This was an awesome
Thanks,
show,
guys.
y'all. What a great time tonight. Thank y'all so much. It was awesome. We got our groove going right now. Thank y'all. Oh, what we got? But that's a mullet, Chris, or is the hat hiding something? Oh no. It's Kurt Cobain. Like it's real deal. It's not a mullet.
Jay thought it was a wig the first time he saw it.
It's Billy Ray Cyrus.
It's Billy Ray. Hey, I found the mustache trimmers though. I did find the mustache trimmers, so now I don't have hair growing in my nose from my mustache. Bye, y'all.